So this is my system. I'm having a stopwatch that's also a clock. Here we're gonna be in clock mode. It's going to increment on a minute basis. So kind of as I talk, it'll probably increment. What we want to do is to put it into stopwatch mode as well as change the clock if we'd like to. So I'm gonna wait until it changes to a minute just to show that it's operable and that it actually does increment in time. And once it does that, I'm going to show how I can change the clock in clock setup mode. Look, and there we are. Okay, so if we wanted to do clock setup mode, we press one button. And here we can change it based off of these digits. So if I wanted to increment it to become 8 o'clock, 8 a.m., I'd increment the second one, because 1, 2, 3, 4. This bit, and then if I wanted to increment, I'd press the 2, and decrement is 3, and to set it at that one is 0, because it'll be a continuous rolling. So you see how it's incrementing, and even if I wanted to decrement, I'd press the 3 and go backwards in time, but I wanted to increment to 8:30, so we'll let it go. And once I get to my set time, I'm gonna stop it there, and then I go to my next bit, the 3, change the digit, set it. So now it's 8:30. So I turn that off, and once I go back into and this button will take you back to your clock setups, your clock mode. I should be back in my clock mode right now. So I mean, it doesn't look like much now, but if we wait, we'll see that it is continuing incrementing and that the clock has taken on that new clock setup output as its input. So now that we see that it does time, I want to show how it transitions into the stopwatch mode. Now, the problem that I'm encountering, it does transition into stopwatch mode, but the clock is not incrementing. Our stopwatch does work on its own, but it seems to be a matter of either the FSM or the keypad interface clock being either too fast or too slow. So it's not recognizing the transition from clock to stopwatch. You can switch in between the stopwatch and the setup or the clock. And if I wanted to change the setup again, I can do it with my increment. So this would be my stopwatch once we get into that mode. The only problem I'm really having is just kind of once it's connected to my FSM, it isn't incrementing, although it still is going into that state. So this is just showing that the stopwatch does work. Once it starts, it's going to start incrementing, and it's going to count by seconds. And at any point, if the person wanted to pause it, they can just press the pause button. It will be interfaced with a keypad in my holistic design, but this is just showing that the stopwatch does work. I'm gonna let the clock run a little bit so that you can see how it increments over time.